Well, good morning, everybody. A little bit late this morning. Had a few things on the go, and life is always interesting. Looking after all the entrants running up and down the coast. As you probably know, the NSRI is their national or is their local sort of volunteer, partially volunteer, um, sort of rescue centres. There's about 50 bases, I think, over 800 miles of coastline there, and it's really amazing. They're set up to cater for the very demanding conditions with very changeable, unstable weather scenarios. Wind coming one way at one point, and then all of a sudden turning the other way. So headwinds, wind against current, all that sort of thing, and a very treacherous part of the coast. So part of the process there then is to actually run a very tight system of sailing plans, safety plans. So every time they leave port, they fill out a sailing plan with a destination, with an ETA. And the idea is when they get into the next port, they cancel that report, and the safety watch is shut down until they leave from the next port, and then you do another one all the way around. It's very common in various parts of the world. It's very common in Australia, especially down around Tassie and Victoria. If you're going out in your boat, you do it. And they have an app, South Africans have an app you put on the phone, which is not connected with marine traffic or anything, but that app links directly to the bases, and you can use one action, hit that app on your phone if there's phone signal, and it's like an alert, and they can come out and help you or whatever. Anyway, all the entrants know the system. I keep reminding the entrants very gently about, remember when you get in to cancel your SAR watch, your safety watch, because we had a couple of little things happening in the past. And then this morning we get the call, BIBI's overdue, this is happening, that's happening. And it's like, oh, here we go again. So BIBI was listed as overdue, when in actual fact we knew he was probably okay. But nonetheless, they have a very set sequence of protocols. After a certain amount of time of the sailing plan not being deactivated, then they move into the next level. So then we tried to contact the manager, but the manager wasn't there. I was surprised. Fortunately, I then put a post up. We're dealing with the local branch of the rescue coordination, the NSRI. And I told him, I said, oh, wow, I think he's out there, he's fine, but we'll go through the process, because we have a set of protocols for anyone that's overdue, missing. We have a code orange and a code red and all this sort of stuff. But nonetheless, even though he's perfectly all right, you have to go through the process. So contact the manager, try to contact Jacob, and of course, Jacob then rang us before the manager could. I think he must have seen the tweet, because we have a messaging, just a WhatsApp tweet that goes to everyone. And this is what I'll actually read you what I sent out to entrants and managers. Urgent, BIBI is reported overdue. This makes work for the NSRI, and please remember, and us. So please remember, managers and entrants responsible to update sailing plans and cancel on arrival, or notify when the ETA to the NSRI needs to be updated if you're at sea, which I do literally, done a couple of times in the last week, just to tell them all. Anyway, then the local branch of the NSRI advised me that the National Rescue Coordination Centre effectively was involved, and that now when we hear, we have to notify them, the local branch, plus the Rescue Coordination Centre. So, and I went on to tell them, I explained to everyone here just how frustrating it is. Anyway, BIBI rang and he says, oh, look, I was trying to for the last hour, but the app wasn't working or something. And it's not my problem. They should have done it a long time ago. Make a phone call to the manager and get the manager to contact them or whatever. And then he said, oh, can you get me the numbers for the thing? And like, we have told the entrants so many times to have all of the Rescue Coordination Centre numbers keyed into their satellite phone, ready to go, blah, blah. And I just said, no way, get it yourself. Why haven't you got the numbers? He said, oh, I'm hand steering. And at that point, I just sort of made it very clear, stop the boat. I just said, stop the boat, make some calls, tell them you're okay, and go from there. So that was very interesting. Anyway, the good news is BIBI's okay. He's now responsible to contact the local NSRI branch and also the national body. And so I will check in with that as soon as I've finished here. I've already sent them a message just saying I just spoke to the captain. He's okay, but I've advised him to contact you. And also, when I say you, the local branch of the NSRI, and also the National Rescue Coordination Centre, because it's important they understand how the process works. So anyway, all is fine. But sometimes when you're trying to, because we're like the founder of this, and they're all independent voyages and things like that, and we're coordinating them as best we can, and so on, it gets challenging. And while I'm onto it, I'll explain another one which is going on at the moment. I've stopped communicating with Entrants now on the issue of the stopover in Simonstown, and I'll explain why. This is me having a bit of a bitch here. The going down the coast from Durban to Cape Town is very demanding and very unique. As you know, we have allocated 16 days of weather stops. All right. And that can be used at any time by any entrant, both tactically as well as just for safety. So, in other words, if they're sailing down the coast and there's a big blow coming, then you head into the nearest port and you stop, and that's for safety. Because that exists, if you're a smart sailor and you're racing, you can use that tactically as well. So you're sailing down the coast and there's a big calm coming with no wind. You say, bugger that, I'm going to dip in here and wait for the wind to turn up and then jump out again when there's a nice breeze blowing, and whoop, whoop, I'm going to go really fast. So it's a tactical option, which any racing sailor would obviously use. So it was very clear when they're leaving Durban, when they're leaving Port Elizabeth, or when they're actually in Port Elizabeth, not Port Elizabeth, East London, that the weather was so good that there was a very strong possibility that boats could arrive very early into Cape Town. They could arrive as early as the 27th. We tried to get extensions for the berthing. We had it set up to go from the 1st of December. We made contacts and put in a suggestion, or there was any chance of pushing it further, halfway down the line. And effectively, that didn't happen. We weren't given any approvals for moving the berthing forward from the 1st of December. So then, at that point, the boats were in, I think it was East London, yeah. And I needed to make a decision because already, the moment I mentioned, and I briefed everyone early, that we might need to slow the fleet down, the response from some of the entrants was nothing short of stunning. I was accused of a conspiracy to favour certain entrants. And in fact, even when the boats were arriving in Durban, I had entrants contact me. One said it was completely unfair. Other entrants are going to blah, 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 and they're going to do this, and I'm going to miss out, and so on. So I had entrant tell me it was unfair right from the beginning, just getting into Durban, right? Then I had, as soon as I mentioned it, the idea of slowing False Bay, I had communications with an entrant saying it was just stupid. It was a conspiracy to favour an engine. I couldn't work it out, but then I was advised later, what the conspiracy might have been, which was a joke. Then we had a situation where I had to make a decision on when I was going to announce it officially, and I did. I announced it when they were in the previous port from the current one, because, and very simply because, it's a potential tactical situation when you've got a pit stop instead of using up your weather windows. And I was given ETAs from two entrants that suggested they could arrive in Cape Town as early as the 27th, right? Which meant that I had to do something anyway. So I advised that before they left the previous port, so that everyone had fair notice in case it was going to become a tactical issue. So people are working on that. Then I took another, it was a fair and sensible suggestion, but it didn't work. And that was from another entrant, where it was suggested that there should be gates, for the middle fleet, and a different gate for the lead fleet, and a different one for the tail enders, because it wasn't fair. The way it's set up, it disadvantaged the middle fleet. but I explained that that's not going to work. Then I took another call saying, oh, some of the entrants are going to just sail straight past False Bay. They're not there because they booked flights out, they just didn't want to stop there, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, anyone that goes past is out of the MGR. And obviously, if they book flights out, they weren't thinking of using the 16 weather days, that's for sure. So it's not my problem. I'm not a travel agent. Then I taken other suggestions, and at that point, I could see some people in the last few days were considering the tactical options of weather days versus pit stops, and they're making all these suggestions. And so I just stopped communicating, because that was sort of like trying to get me to act not as their weather router, but if they could convince me to change my mind on certain things, it may be advantageous for them or others or whatever. And so I stopped communicating on the issue, because I'm the organizer. Now, in yacht racing, when you have a course that's established, right, there's going to be winners and losers with weather. That's a fact of life. When you're on the course, if you're on a 1,000-mile course, some people are going to get better weather than others, right? That's how it works. So you can never please everyone all the time. But from an organizer perspective, I had people, I had another entrant saying, oh, it's ridiculous changing the rules all the time. We're not changing the rules at all by putting in a pit stop at the end. It's logistics, and there are any number of reasons that this event is unique, and it requires sensible modification to make it work even, right? Because what's the point of having boats turn up in Cape Town when there's no berthing, right? So it's not changing the rules. This is a course. I had an entrant suggesting, this is ridiculous. It's off the bloody track. It's off the route. We're going way out of our way. Well, way out of our way off the run line is 13 miles, right? So, yes, if you didn't go into False Bay, you would just carry on, and that's fine. To go into False Bay, you're going to go 13 miles in and 13 miles out, right? 26 miles added to the 28,000 mile course, not a problem. But boy, I got, this is 50, it's going to take us blah, 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 blah. I mean, really, get over it, guys. It's very interesting. Everyone's under pressure, but we're trying to run a sensible event, and we're not favouring anyone. There are many reasons for us to make decisions on what we do and how we do it, right? And we don't cater for. We listen to advice. I mean, I'll give you a classic. Renault suggested about going into Rodriguez, and I looked at it at the time. I thought, that could be pretty cool. But I knew nothing about Rodriguez. He said it was a great place. We did it, and it was fantastic. Everyone loved it. So we obviously listen, but at the end of the day, once decisions are made, they're made for a reason. We do it for various considerations with no favour to anyone, and it's not unfair. It's the course. So it's been an interesting few days, and this morning with the NSRI, it was like, oh boy. Sometimes I feel like the teacher with a bunch of school kids, but we're all having fun. That's the main thing. And I think at the end of the day, when we all get together and we're in Cape Town, there'll be a few laughs and so on. And I warned everyone was it Lagos? Yeah, I warned everyone in Lagos. Sometimes I've got to be the bad guy, and that's what we're doing. That's how it's happening. And at the moment, False Bay is still on the course, still on the agenda, and we leave it like that for obvious reasons. Now, I won't go into those reasons right here, because I don't want the sailors on the water to start making assumptions and blah, 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 blah. But we don't become weather outers. We don't favour anyone. The course is as it stands, and people have got to sail to that. And the weather's interesting, because it now looks like they're going to be sitting there for a while in Moselle Bay. Anyway, enough of a bitch. I'll go straight to the tracker. Boom, there it is. So you're on the tracker. And boy, I've got things popping up everywhere there. Hang on a sec. You're on the tracker, and I'm coming on the tracker. Here we go. So all kind of interesting. It's been a very slow slog across to Moselle Bay. So Here we go. Wind coming up. I like seeing the grids. And it's all happening. So Renault is just about to get to the anchorage of Moselle Bay inside there. And Jasmine down the back here. How far? We've still got Josh back there. In fact, I wonder if he's left yet. No, Christian's still there. Let's have a look first before we go anywhere. Okay, Josh is there. Christian's there. They need to get going straight away while they can. A perfect time for Christian because there's a nice breeze kicking in, and he can zip across there quite a bit faster. In fact, just to give you an idea, hang on. Just to give you an idea of how Christian can use this, he's currently 90 miles behind Jasmine. If he steps out now, it looks like he's going to have a good breeze all the way through, whereas the others have been drifting. He effectively will have made ground. Anyway, so Josh is there. Now, the other good news is that Kerry's departed. So let's just come up here and have a look. Kerry's the last guy in the fleet. He's departed, so we'll just focus on that and get him out of the way first. So he's heading out. He's doing 2.7 knots. He's gone backwards 1 mile. And let's just have a look at the weather he's likely to get. I'll make the screen a little bit bigger here. We're on day 274, by the way, and it's the 25th of November, 1 month to Christmas. Oh, happy days. 2.7 knots, that's okay. Done nothing there. He's heading out to the current, obviously. Oh, he's still got to get down a bit. It's moved. That's interesting. It's moved a fair way south, as of that point. Anyway, he's pushing into the current, but he should know that. And I'd say he's making that course because of the breeze. There's only a very light breeze there at the moment. Anyway, he's got a bit to go to get into that. So we'll come back and I'll show you 2 days of weather. And let's see what's happening here. So if I get my little keyboard here, and I'm gonna. Okay, here we go. So he'll toss on that. He'll go over onto port tack and start heading down towards the current. That's in the next 3 hours. So he's probably set off at the right time because it had been slight headwinds. You can see that little. This is a low pressure system. A little low pressure system forming. It's been going up in that direction. So he stepped out right in the, not wasting any time to make the most of the breeze. There it is. Now, how long is it going to last? And how far has he got to go? So to East London, he's got about, here we go, East London will be where he's trying to get to, 240 miles, which would normally take 2 days, but he could start rocketing if he can make the current. So, I've got to hit that again. So here comes the first day. He's got a nice breeze there, but we already know it's not going to last forever. So there's the first 24 hours. So he's got 24 hours of fast sailing. I think he'll be doing 8 knots once he gets moving because he's got a good solid current when he gets into it. But it's going to take him a while to get to the current. So he's probably going to lose 3 hours or so, 3-4 hours before he gets into it. So I'd say he's probably going to be doing, 160. He'll probably get a 160 mile day, 170 mile day, I reckon. And that'll leave him about 70 miles. It's still going. He needs to, at that point, it's on the beam, and then it's light. So it's light. I don't know whether he probably won't 5, 6, 7. He may not make it. He won't make it all the way to East London. It's going to go light headwinds by the little bit. It's got a bit of a turn there. Oh, it's not too bad, actually. He's on port tack on that, so I think he's okay. And here we come, the 27th. So it's starting to blow, but it's in the right direction. He might keep going. By the look of that, if I were him, depending on the sea state, anyway, he's going to get through the worst of it for sure because he's got 2 days of reasonable stuff and potentially quite fast sailing. Now, will he decide to keep going? Let's see how strong this thing gets. The yellow there is going to be 28, gusting 35 maybe, but it is from the right direction, but it's too much. There's too much there. When you see that go purple, that's 30 gusting 35, maybe even 40 in there. And the sea, I would imagine be too big. So I think he'll have a reasonable run, and he'll be in East London. Then he's going to have to sit that out. Then he'll sit that out. Not for very long. Not for very long at all. Depends on how long that one lasts. It's a bit confusing before the headwinds. No, he might be stuck there. So that's definitely the wrong way. Okay, so anyway, that's a peak for Kerry. Let's take it all back to the beginning now because we started to see some headwinds there. But good to see him underway. I'm not sure how many days he's got left on his weather stops. I haven't worked it out yet. Gets very involved, to say the least. So here we go. So Josh is still sitting there. Christian's still sitting there. So we'll forget them until we look at the weather. We'll now blow this up and look at the rest of the fleet. Seems to be a nice breeze building now. So Jasmine's 3.3 knots, did 61 mile day. Eric, 3.9 knots, did 74 miles. That's not too bad. Adam did 79 miles, 4.6 knots. Urton, 4.5 miles, 81 knots, 81 miles. That's not bad. Jacob, perfectly safe, probably busy on the phone. He may stop the boat. He may have stopped the boat to make the phone calls. Did 84 miles. He's been going. I think he's been concentrating on speed. So that's pretty good. That's the highest of this lot so far. 81 miles for Peeler. Peeler doing 4.1. That's okay. Dan, 3.8 knots, 82 miles. That's not bad. Jacob's still got 84. And Renault, 84. Okay. So Renault and Jacob have hit the jackpot there. Let's just have a look at where they're going before I look at the weather. We'll push this right up. It's an interesting little place. I've never been there before, but they're going to possibly have a bit of fun there. So keep coming in, going. It's a little marina over here, and they look like they're probably I don't know. Interesting boats while the picture was taken, but there's not a big lot there. It's a little marina. There might be, I'm not sure what's here, whether it's working. They could be workboats in there. Never been there, don't know much about it. There's a restaurant over there. This looks like rail yards or freeway or something. Moselle Bay Harbour. So plenty of protection there, though. So that's a good place. And it looks pretty simple to get into. So let's go back here and look at the weather. So Renault will be pretty much in by now. Be possibly getting close to being in. So we come back to the wind. Rightio. And I'm going to go the big picture first just to see, because it's pretty clear they're going to be stuck there for a while. Nice breeze coming in now, but how far would they get? Because I did the numbers yesterday, and it's just, might have been just possible. If they were out here now, they might have just got around here before it blows. But let's watch this. So that's the weather now. You'd think, oh, you could keep going around here. I'll blow it up. Wrong way. I'll blow it up one more so we can make an estimate, just to give you the distance perspective from Moselle Bay to what place is that? That might be the Cape of Good Hope down there. 114 miles, near enough to the 120 miles to there, and then sort of to get over there, another 80 miles, so a couple hundred miles, maybe 220 miles from here to False Bay. Okay, and that's the weather we've got at the moment. Let's walk it through. That's pretty fast sailing. So that's coming up. It's pretty fast, pretty good. It's not a problem, but you see it disappears really quick. So you've only got about 12 hours at 5 knots at 60 miles. So you're only going to get down here somewhere, and then it goes quiet. So it's going to be a little bit quiet. It might slow down a little bit, but then again, it's still pretty reasonable. And you've now gone into the second day. So that would have been pretty reasonable at that point. They probably would have got 130 mile day, all told, and then they're shooting for False Bay. They're starting to blow. So it's the 25th, hang on a sec, that's the 26th. End of 26th. It's still reasonable on the coast, but there's the challenge. You've now 6, 7. At that point, somewhere there, you're going to be around about here. and you've got a big breeze behind you, big seas. It's really, and I don't believe there's anywhere else to hide around here. So you're really committed, and that's a deciding factor. They've been at sea for a while now, so it's probably not a bad idea to sit there. So how long are they going to go? It's blowing a bit there. So let's see what happens. There's the 28th. Then there's not much wind, and it's a headwind ahead of them. So not much wind to get out, so you can't really get out on the 28th. You don't want to go in any of that. You can see that's headwinds, pretty strong ones. You're still sitting there. That's the 30th. And there we go. The breeze is still not that favourable. There's the 30th. Light winds, light winds, light winds, light winds, light winds, light winds. So that's not too bad. A bit windy around the corner. And there we go. So they're probably not going to get out of there until around about, and the forecast, as you know, is very unstable here. So that's a long way ahead. It's the 25th. So that's 5, 6, 7. That's another week. That's a week away yet. So, and everything could change by then. But certainly they're going to be stuck there for a few days. So there we go. So as of the moment, right now, there is still posted a 4-day pit stop in False Bay. All right. And these guys are going to be sitting here until whatever. And so that's as far as I'm going to take the conversation right now, because I don't want to start another round of discussion. And I'm not speaking to anyone else about the course right now. There's a 16-day weather window for all entrants to use. I don't think I can show you anything else there. So I'm coming back here and coming back here. Boom, there we go. So they're going to have a right time there and wait for the weather and see what happens. But they might not get out of there until early next week. And that's how it goes. Sailing is all about the weather and all kind of fun. Now, reports. I've got a couple of reports here from Entrant, which is kind of cool. What have we got here? Capuchinet's in Moselle Bay. Finished at 8:18, so just as we're speaking. So, yep, he's already in there. I just got the pictures and the video and stuff, and just changed, got the flags and lead class up. Thanks, Renault. Good job, Renault, by the way. Okay. Let's see. Where are we here? I've got to find the Entrant reports. Jeepers. Hang on a sec. Yeah, here somewhere. Oh boy. It's stunning. I forget how many messages I get. Sorry about all this. Stand by, stand by, stand by, stand by, stand by. What the? Oh boy. Entrant reports. Okay. So, Entrant reports from today. Did I do Peter Punt? They came in late yesterday, so no, I wouldn't have. 9:15. Kerry Harris. Okay, Peter Punt. This was late yesterday. Sometimes it's hard for me. Oh, this is a good one. Sometimes it is hard for me to know what day of the week it is, to remember how many nights I've been sailing. Things just disappear. I even imagine nonsensical things that affect me. I should sleep more. Sleep. Just sleep. I think they're all lacking sleep. I saw a post by Jasmine's mum, the manager, saying she not a third night out there with not much sleep. Not much sleep. Eric, Sunbear, update. 45 nautical miles off Moselle Bay. 2 knots of breeze. Very slow going. Waiting for northeasterly to kick in and get us here. All is well on Sunbear. Cheers. So they're the only 2 reports. Okay, so let's get back here and it's a gunner. Gunner is NSRI in South Africa based on volunteers. Yeah, I'm a volunteer. Yep, absolutely. Because the reason I say sort of partially volunteers, I didn't want people to think that it was like a backyard bodgy job. There's massive capital investment there, incredible world-class equipment, all that sort of stuff. But I believe virtually all of the the crews and everything there are volunteers. It's really quite amazing, and I always respect, obviously, people in the services like this, the rescue services, whether they're volunteers or even professionals, and they're all adventurers. They're all running their own adventures through that and providing an amazing service. So, and Gunners, I'm a volunteer in the Swedish search and rescue organisation, SSRS, on my local station just south of Stockholm. We have a total of 73 stations and 270 rescue vessels. It's fantastic. It's really quite impressive. Gunner in the, this is a funny one, Gunner in the GGR, who's going to do the GGR, he's also a member of the RNLI, the English rescue organisation as well. So well done. Good to hear, Gunner, and good luck, Stay safe. Also, wow, Don, you have a big responsibility. You're doing it. Thanks, mate. It's there's a lot goes on, but anyway, we love what we're doing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not stressed on it, but it's kind of funny, Sometimes you just got to have a bit of a burp, just say, and and I'm not really criticising the entrance either. This is the big thing, We say that our events are all about the stories, and it's all about the human side of sailing. It's not computers, it's not money, and all that sort of stuff. And the reality is, they're all humans, and they're all entitled to their emotions and opinions and feelings and this, that, and the other. And but sometimes it gets really interesting, especially when it gets a bit tight. But I let it go straight over the top, and we carry on doing what we're doing. And I took a death threat. I took a serious death threat in the OGR from one of the entrants, and fortunately it was witnessed and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, everyone had an absolute ball, right? And that's an interesting story, which I will write about, so stand by. So many stories. Yes, they're all humans. Anyway, so where'd I get to? Great update. Clearly herding cats. Yeah, but I love the cats. Don't worry. I'm not, And Jacob, we get on really well, but I let him know I was a bit disappointed. So clearly some either cannot read or follow instructions. Well, that's human nature as well. It's with all of the events, but yes, you're right. There's a lot to read sometimes, things like that too. But anyway, it is critical to entrance safety that they communicate and follow the rules, which are there to protect them as much as is possible. I agree. The dial-up rescue should be needed. An incredible event. What a commitment for organised to stay on deck 24/7 over a year. It's unprecedented. A bit of fun. A bit of fun. Got nothing else to do. Joke. Volatile weather conditions. Fingers crossed. Yeah. Anyway, they're all managing it very well. They're in the right places at the right time. So far, so good. Touch wood. And cheapest, did you see? There's a guy put a comment on one of the video clips, and he said, "This is getting boring." People are losing interest as if there's no dramas happening. It was very, very interesting. Oh, well, that's good. I like it when people get bored because no one's getting into trouble because they're all very good sailors, very cool boats. Oh, Mike Gay, g'day. East-going weather systems and west-going yachts limits availability weather windows, but can enjoy the stops anyway. Absolutely, they have fun. Each stopover, it's a very hospitable one. Quite good. Kathleen checking in from the coast of Mississippi. Good on you. Love those American names. Sean, Cape Agulhas is the most southerly point. There is Gans Bay past a small fishing port to hide on the other side. Okay, that's interesting. I've never done a big search on that coastline, as in finding all the spots. Jarrett, anyway, that's another story. He's the OCC officer in False Bay. He's been really helpful. Sean, NSRI is fully volunteer. Okay, yeah, absolutely brilliant. Yeah, they're good people for sure. Very professional for sure. Okay, so anyway, have fun, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Crikey, that was half an hour. Okay, goodbye. Hang on, I'll put that up. Remember.